Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where I discuss my journey with photography. If you're new here, my name is Quin and this is my 52 frames challenge series. In this series, I share the process of how I come up with my weekly submissions. This week, week 9, the topic was window light with an extra challenge to include shadow. So for this week, I didn't use my phone. Oh, again, for my newbies, I usually photograph these challenges on my phone to expand growth through limitation. This time I wanted a break from my phone, so I decided to use my DSLR. So of course, I started this challenge with my favorite 85mm prime lens. I took some images of the doll against the window, aiming for a half shadow, half lit look. This was a concept I used in a headshot I did. Here's a picture of that. I personally like shadows because I love mystery and death. So now back to the challenge. The sun decided to leave me hanging and I wanted a catch light. So I grabbed my off-camera flash and began trying out different angles as well as different positions for me. I just now noticed I didn't put any pictures here where I have images of the catch light and the doll baby. Sorry about that. Eventually, I switched to my 18 to 140 millimeter zoom lens with a focal length of 50 millimeters. I used the off-camera flash, bouncing it off the walls to prevent harsh lighting. This was all the lighting I used for this challenge, window light plus the off-camera flash. At first, I didn't want to photograph outside my window because I didn't think the imagery was pleasant. So Philly is a very unique city. The beauty of it and the ugly or the unflattering parts of it are very intertwined. I'm kind of used to them being separate. So far, I've only lived in 5 different states, and this is my first time seeing them intertwined like this. So with that in mind, I looked out my window again and saw the Ben Franklin Bridge and part of the city skyline, and I thought, bet, here's my story. I got it. So whenever I'm photographing, I always have these goals in mind to either find beauty in places that seem to lack it, express my emotion through imagery, or to tell a story. So my doll, here's the story. So my doll has mythically and theoretically, of course, climbed into the window to make her great escape, and she thought, let me hurry before my dad comes looking. So when using natural light as my primary source, this is just something that comes very naturally to me because I'm mostly an outdoor photographer. I consider myself an intuitive photographer. So when I'm shooting, my brain is about 85%, how does this look and feel? And then I play with the dials on the camera, kind of like how Maggie did on that machine in the movie 13 Ghosts. Side note, that is one of my all-time favorite scary movies. But back to the challenge. As for the mood, I wanted it reflective and hopeful, given the current times we are in. So when it comes to exposure, shadows, and highlight, my camera is set to black and white. 2 photographers whose work I deeply admire shoot in black and white. I figured I could train my eye to naturally get good exposure by shooting in black and white. I see the color once I upload it. I also use a meter on my camera to help with highlights and shadows. In some of the photos here, that were already shown, you will notice that the highlights are overexposed. I struggle with fixing this in post without disrupting the entire image. I know it can be done by creating a mask and selecting the area you want to edit, but I was working on my tablet and I ran out of patience figuring it out. Yeah, I'm an Aries, so honey, patience is just not my strongest. It's just not my strongest traits. So composition and framing isn't something I can fully explain either. That's just another skill that comes naturally to me ever since I picked up a camera. I did take a photography class and I learned all the rules, but I don't remember those. I just kind of flow. So capturing emotion and creating a narrative with objects rather than people is something I've been doing again since I've picked up a camera. I hate bothering people, so I got lost in the things that were around me. This worked out for me because I got to escape, and I found ways to find beauty in things without having to travel far. Now, black and white is usually my default edit because to me, emotion is expressed stronger in black and white imagery. That isn't always the case, but I chose black and white here based on my goal. For this challenge, I was inspired by images from the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. Since we had just came out of Black History Month, I wanted my black and white to reflect the imagery from that time, mostly Gordon Parks, whose work sometimes uses sharp contrast, deep tones, and shadows to express strong emotion. This was my way of adding depth and narrative through light and shadow. So I didn't have a preferred time of day for lighting. Mostly I just went with what was available to me and made the best of it. My goal, at the end of these, I'm always going to start putting a goal. So my goal is to be gentle with myself. Sometimes I feel like my knowledge and my skill aren't where they should be for someone who has been photographing technically for over a decade. But I have to remember I spent 8 of those years in post-secondary education, and photography is something that I truly enjoy and I am passionate about it. So I know I will reach my desired level in time. This last image that you see here is the one that I submitted for my weekly challenge, and I named it North Star. Well, that concludes my video. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.